Hello, friends. Welcome to Akulmach Live. And jobs is a major part of our life. We are all looking for jobs, whether you are a employed person or a self-employed person. Even as a CEO, your job is always at the stake because you need to perform. However, in this decade, what is going on is the industry is moving on very rapidly, and that makes a lot of changes to the way we look at the jobs. There are a lot of opportunities, but where are these opportunities? And people are complaining all the time that I'm losing my job or about to lose the job or I'm not getting a job. To discuss this very important person, I will be joined by a very senior seasoned professional from our industry, Mr. Basant Tomar. He has already spent 3 decades in the industry, and he is running a successful business now after having worked at a corporate level at senior positions. So, without further ado, let me invite Basant Tomar to address this issue. Hello, Basant. Welcome to Akulmach, and we always love to talk to you. And today we are discussing about the what are the skills required to retain your job or to find a job. So, welcome to the show, Basant. Over to you.
Morning, CK. Good to see you, Rod. Good to be back. Yes, please.
So, Basant, I think this episode has been prompted especially because there are a lot of confusion about what skill sets are required today. Especially because all kinds of people are searching for job or having difficulty in retaining their job. Whether you are a youngster, fresher, young professionals, or even the middle management. Also, the top management will come to that later. So, the first question that I want to ask you is that in the fast changing industry today, what are the skills required to basically retain your job or to become relevant or to remain relevant for the next few years? So, what are your thoughts since you're running your own organization? You're handling this issue from the other side. What do you expect in people when they come and walk into your company?
Well, I see my market is very specific. So, but then we do sales. We have technical people. We have software developers. We have support engineers. So I think that's very limited. Way where we can look at the normal graduate who's looking in the market, and the most important is for these guys have to understand what is it that they like or they want to do, which they need to pursue. Now, people have no choice. They go to any engineering college or they have to go to any engineering college because there is no other option. So we've seen all that, and engineering colleges have shut down, MBAs have shut down. The things have changed so much, especially after the COVID and the inclusion of AI, ML, and everything coming up. So this is really the time where either you can rise way too fast or you will fall down too quickly. You need to look at the whole perspective in the market now. As we are running a company, since it's all software based, internet based, there is a tremendous market there. Anything you can sell for any company, anything can be sold or anything can be done sitting at your home at your leisure pace. It's just that you need to have these skill sets developed. Now, those skill sets will come once you do start doing something from the back end and you know this is where I need to go. So, a graduate who comes in, now we keep taking interviews of BTechs, MBAs, etc., etc. There is no skill set. They all want to be trained. One. So how do you address those situations? Now, these people need to come up with something. If you want a job in my company or in any company, you'll have to at least showcase something, looking at which is relevant to me. Please understand, my industry is X, somebody's industry is Y. If you want to go there and do something, show them the relevancy that, yes, I am not asking for the experience. All I'm asking is your attitude. Number one, if I want to hire a fresher, I will look at his attitude and, of course, his skill set as not the skill set, his education level and the technical competency or the attitude of sales, which you can easily judge. So I think people need to decide where they want to go. Then somebody can guide them. They need to constantly ask questions from them, from their peers, and from the seniors around that what I need to do. People don't ask the right questions in the right time. They just stay quiet. They do whatever they want. They take anything and they just hold on to that because they have to hold on to it. They need, of course, money. We've been through all those stages. But then you have to move out of that, that fear that this is not the end, this is the beginning. spend some time, learn the skill sets which are needed. Now, I can't tell you what skills. I can tell you skill set in my environment or in that matter anywhere for any company. So we'll have to take some specific examples that what we are talking about. So we can do that now in telecom or in marketing or advertising or anywhere you go. People are looking at somebody who can go beyond a normal level. Now, when I say do X work, people simply just finish that work and go home. They think the work is done. No, no, no. That is where the work starts. You got to show that you can do beyond. Your analytical mind has to come in. You got to tell the company, show them that if we do this, this will happen. Come up with things. Please talk, discuss more. Don't worry about your boss or boss's boss. End of the day, you are learning. Your boss will relent. Your bosses will relent if you are, giving them something which is of value. If they will not listen, the market will listen to you.
So, Basant, I think you have put it very nicely. Let me be very specific here. You see, what has happened is that after 2020, there are certain industries which are actually having a lot of trouble, especially if you look at travel, hospitality. There are a few more. Any logistics, any physical sales operations where people are required to go out and sell, any outsourcing services. These are the things which are actually going down gradually, and especially AI. You mentioned AI coming into the foray, then this is becoming more sharper. So people who are specialized, were trained in that arena, are not finding jobs because those jobs are obsolete or those skills are obsolete. So and I think this is happening all over. If you look at healthcare, if you look at education, the environment is changing very rapidly. The physical activities are reducing. Even at the job front, the trends are that more and more people are now getting freelancers or contract employees. So in these situations, which are real, we are handling these situations every day. What are the new skills are required today for the youngsters, so that they can go and straight away and get liked by the company? Like you mentioned that, hey, understand where you're going, what are the core businesses, what are the skill sets required, do your homework. I think that is very right. But I think from our knowledge, we should be able to tell these youngsters what they should be doing now to even being considered for an interview. So what are your thoughts on this?
See, technology is an enabler. I'm a firm believer that technology will help you go beyond X. See, for a learner, it is fine. The technology will give you answers very quickly, way too fast, even for students or the level one kind of people who do level one coding. Now, the analytics is where is the human mind which comes into play, right? You've got to analyze the data. You can learn, over a period of time that this is how this thing is done. But unless you analyze and you learn how to apply it in certain situations, this is where your skill set will come into play. Now, those skill sets are developed over a period of time. You got to get more involved into more projects relevant to whatever you're doing, real time projects or not. You have to study, you got to get into it, you got to do them and see where you're failing, why you're failing, keep asking questions, keep doing that. It doesn't matter. There is no failure. As I said, I use the word wrong. It's not failure. It's something which you're trying and you're not able to do it because at your level right now, with your knowledge skill set, you're not able to do it. So what you do, dig it deeper, go and talk to people around. I have seen people do not talk. Even in my company, people will not come and discuss unless I force them to open up. So you got to create structures where people come and talk to you. This is, I find, I really don't like this kind of attitude environment anywhere for that matter, at home or even anywhere outside. You got to come up and talk. You got to tell, this is where I am, this is what I'm doing, this is what I need. So unless you come up, things won't change on their own, and you will not change unless you hear it from people who've been through and you've gone through that. People want to help you. Believe me, people will help you, but then you've got to be there. You show up. You keep doing it. Don't get lethargic. That I'm not able to do. I'll do only this much. No, you got to show. You got to come up that yes, I am ready and I want to do it. The desperation has to be there.
I think what you're saying is that be aware of what is going on around you and accordingly
Yeah.
steer yourself.
Correct. So I see specifically, and I have taken probably about 100, 200 CVs come in, out of which 99% are irrelevant. I don't know why people apply. This is where things go wrong. You're applying just because you don't have anything. You don't even read the job profile or the company. You just go there and sit there. You'll be out 99.9% time. You won't be even called for the interview.
All right. So moving on to the next question, Basant. I think we have discussed about the youngsters because youngsters can change quickly because they are young and they are quite energetic, and they should actually be aware of what is selling, what is not selling, what skills are required. So today, I think AI, AI, talking to AI, prompt engineering, or analytics. You also mentioned that are the skills which no AI can replace humans. So I think it is important for people to generate these skills. But I think the important point is about the middle management and senior management. You see, guys like me, uh, we have spent 2 to 3 decades in the industry, and after 2020 that clock was reset, because before
Yes.
2020 we could say, hey, I've got so many CIOs under my belt, I know all these guys with their last name and first name, and I've spent so many decades in the industry and I know how the things will work. But after 2020 things have changed, your work pool has changed, your business style has changed, so you are now competing with the youngsters. Your situation or whatever you have done in last 2 decades does not matter. You are now in the same position as a fresher pass out. So what is that we can do to stay valuable, to stay relevant, and to stay ahead in the curve? What is your opinion?
Well, you're very right. The I don't say this is an issue. What is happening is, after spending, let's say, 2 decades or 15, 20 years, a person should be able to actually run a company, if you ask me, or a department so well that he's constantly giving those inputs. And so the decisions which are important, you need to make certain important decisions every day or every month, which has a huge impact on the company. Basically, this is where people are simply biding their time. That I have seen, I did that, and let's see, I learned. So over a period of time, with 20 years, I know this much. So I'll stick around, and the mindset doesn't change because we are not getting tuned to the new things which are coming up. So either we need to keep upgrading the skill sets in the same environment, or I will have to do something which will prove that I am still relevant. Now there is no competition with youngsters. What youngsters are coming up is they do not have the experience. Please understand, all they have is like a fancy. If you ask me, an IITian or an MBA, he's not going to pick up your job. All he can do is get some fancy position somewhere. But then besides, he's got to prove his point, and he needs to prove it quickly because the kind of money they're paid, they don't have time. For a middle or a middle management guy, he can go a couple of places, or he can do his own entrepreneurship. He can start anything he wants. But why would somebody want to stick at a place where he can't deliver or he can't add value? It makes no sense to me or even to the company. So you will have to think that, am I adding value, and how do I add value? After 20 years, you should know, how should I add value to my company, to my organization, to my department, to whatever I'm doing. If you can't, you need to push, you need to go out, leave the space. I'm being very blunt, and I've suffered that. But then, yeah, I've always pushed through things, so I know you got to give more than company can handle. Please understand that, and for that you got to persevere so hard that you really forget whatever is around you. Even for the middle management, there, as I said again, your small decisions or the major, they will have a major impact. Not small decision having small impacts. Like everyday reporting is something which everyone wants. Stop reporting, please. Do something which is impacting the youngsters. You bring up something which adds value to the people down or to the company. It's easier said than done, but then with 20 years of experience, you should be able to do that if you've not done anything worthwhile in your, let's say, a business or a career. And as I said, skill set, keep improving. People do that. They will go to IM, get a 6 months degree or a 12 months degree. That's a name that catches attention for a certain period of time. After that, you will lose relevance if you can't even prove what you've done over there.
Yeah, so let me share my personal experience with one of my conversation, basically with another leader in the industry, and
Mhm.
the discussion we were having was about how can we find the strategic minds within your company? This is a small company like 300, 500 people. How can we
Sure.
identify the strategic minds among your workforce? And then he said, CK, whatever you do, even if you do your exercise with my company, my 20 leaders will not allow that. They feel immediately very scared and very threatened, and they said, okay, fine, how can I not be called a strategic guy with 20 years of experience, and how can a person below me be tagged as a strategic thinking mind or a think tank? So they will stop it, and because these 20 guys bring revenue for me, I'm totally stuck with them. So I think this is a real situation where the company is also getting stuck. You have any
No,
experience on?
I know where this is coming from. We've been through that the middle management or these so-called bosses. I'm so sorry. I keep saying that these guys are always. I don't know why are they scared. You will have to bring in more smarter people. Please understand. You will not know everything. You have to become an enabler. Very simple. As a senior guy, please enable people to rise. Do not worry about your job. If you can, bring up certain things. You say strategy. Now, strategy is something which one guys have a natural instinct. People, all you are training now after 20 years. I'm not saying that you are strategic or not, but then your work will show, what exactly have you done. Has it impacted in any way, looking at the real life environments which have changed? Have you done anything to change let's say your department or your people or yourself? This is where it shows. A youngster who's like coming in today, he's seen certain things which we haven't, so he will probably know a bit more if he's experienced that. I'm experienced now. COVID has changed almost everything for everyone. People should have learned their lessons by now, that you are not relevant just because of your past accolades. It's not going to help. It can make you stick around and you can jump a ship, go to somewhere else and show them something which is not real. To be very frank, people show too much that, yes, I can do this, I've done that, but can you do it now with the situations which are there in front of you, in front of the company?
Yeah, I think that brings me to another relevant question. Is since we're talking about company and you're talking about learning, and I think we have discussed these very important subjects. So, how does company offer programs or resources to help employees develop new skills and expand their knowledge, and therefore have some retention? What is your thoughts on that?
Right. Now, retention, we can begin with the junior levels. They are being trained. Please understand. Now, always the problem will come with the middle management, that they need to be reskilled or retrained. If they don't do it, if you think they are an asset, now again, you have to realize people's potentials, give them a chance and see where they can be trained. Move them around various departments. This is what needs to be done when somebody is senior enough. Move him in various departments, various countries, if you feel that you can do that and if he's worth it. This is where you will realize, is he able to do something somewhere which is adding more value rather than sticking at one place or being at one place. See, a sales guy needn't always be a sales guy. He's done his job, then he moves on. Beyond that, he becomes more of an enabler. His relationships, his experiences of how things will move in an environment, how closing sales or how doing large sales or large volume sales. This is where his importance comes in. But then he needs to train his people down, and he needs to cover that up with the other departments so that they work together. So this is where the skill. Yeah.
I think the important thing is not to feel very insecure. I think that's the word I would like to use. With 2 decades of
Yes.
experience,
If you are worth it, see, please understand again. If I know my value, if I know I've done something, you and I understand that I will not be scared in any day. Let the company shut down. I know my skill set. I know my businesses. People are too scared that this will happen, that will happen. Nothing will happen. If you're good and if you have the skill set, you can do anything outside. And today's time, when it's exploding, you can use social media so well that you can get anything that you want. You can reach anywhere. This was never there.
yes, Basant. So, can you now tell me about a time when your team here faced a significant challenge or change or challenge, which you had to handle as a leader? Anything significant, like you mentioned.
Oh, there are. I'm telling you, I've faced this from very beginning in 2000. I'll talk about now those times when I'm getting into very specific technology kind of aspect now. The internet service providers were far and few. There were VSNL and there was Primus and there were a couple of more Dell DSL probably in 2000. These were the major players. So we started, and that time it was very hard to get even an internet connection or a lease line or connecting between two locations. And the government had opened everything. There was no policy to do virtual private networks. Everyone was able to do it, right? I will tell you, my company, well, not mine, the company I was working with had 15 offices we opened up across. So much money was spent. And the VPN, the strategy was built around that VPN license is free. So let's do more business about connecting, right? And then the government changed everything. Government changed the policy that, see, now only licensees with, let's say, a turnover of XYZ and an entry fee of X crores, which was just not viable. That was meant for larger companies. Whatever government did, it was very strange at that time. And you can imagine our business or the company's business went down by almost 70%. So what do? Then
So
you change the whole idea. I've seen it in front of me. Yes, they shut down, but then over a period of time, I realized that we could have moved on to other business aspects of it rather than focusing on what we could do at that time, which was sell more to the enterprise and corporates and those kind of people, and get more into retail business. License. This is now the licensing regime, which changes everything for you. Some people would be shunted out. There is no choice there. So I have faced, and I had issues itself. They were delivering. They said, where is the business? And when I was doing probably, let's say, 40, 50 or a crore business a month, and I was down to 20 lakhs, 30 lakhs. Everyone was. So everybody's job was at stake. Then you moved up. You raised your ladder. You work twice harder, and you look what you can do. So you start getting into different product lines. You assess what you can do in the market. So everyone faced, and that was very early experience for me. And then some leaders did teach me the analytical part of it. This is where I learned that see, you have to analyze and you got to come up with things which can help the company. And this is where I learned, with every reporting that you do, you're not supposed to simply report. Please understand that this has happened. The data is there. What next is the question. What do you understand from that data? What can you do with that data, and what do you want company to do so that things change? So I have tried transforming everywhere I go. I want people to come up, and it's very hard for people to do because they are not putting in enough head there to analyze and explain what's happening. Second thing that happened again recently, it happened in US. The restriction, too many restrictions to dial to US. Whole country's business of telecom, 70% is US. Now we moved out because it was so risky, the licenses and everything, with so many scams coming in. We moved to different countries, and we actually were able to deliver the business. We sustained the business, though I'm still down by 20-30%. But then that's much easier than losing my license or my name in the market with the telecom authorities. We fight those every other day. I fight challenges with the banking. Please understand, I have digital banks. Now some bank can raise a query and stop my funds. I face those challenges. This is everyday story. Firefighting is every day. Things are changing. You really don't know what comes up, but then all you need to do is spread your thing wide enough and have your revenue streams from different places. Not one, two, three, four customers should be your main sole bread earners. Not one guy should be the one you should be dependent on. You'll have to change everything around you. You'll have to see what best suits you and your company.
So the nugget of knowledge that we are getting here is diversify your business. If you don't diversify, you will have a natural,
You will, you
end
will.
of.
For you see, the business will always have ups and downs. Please understand. This is how it happens. You cannot have one business running smoothly for years. New competition will come in, and you won't even know you can be wiped out in a couple of months. It's very simple. It is doable. But then one thing that will always sustain is you, your relationship, your character, and the way you handle the market and the people. That will always remain, and people will remember you for that. The customers will trust you for that. Never cheat, please. No shortcuts, and always serve well. That's the motto in your head. If you keep that simple, it's very simple. and always choose the best technology, best service providers at the back end. Do not do any negotiation on that aspect, because that will drive your business. And find the best people. You need to start with 1 2 3 people only. You don't need tons of them. If they can sustain and go along with you, with your mindset, you can build up a beautiful team, and then you can keep expanding forever. There has to be an infinite mindset. You cannot have a very small mindset, have very large dreams. Please understand, as big as you can. I want to create $1 billion company, but then that's not just because I want money. That's just I want to give so much back, so that I can maybe create thousands of jobs, and people can sustain. Let them lead a easier life. Give them something to look forward to.
So, Basant, this brings me to the last question of our discussion today is that how does the company culture support adaptability and learning from the new situation? Because I think you have already mentioned that these are ongoing, incidents which you have to handle every
Yes.
day. But then, can you build a culture which is fine suited for adaptability? That's my last question today.
It can be built up, but then one, you need to have the money. Please understand, very important. You need to have cash flow, or a cash somewhere around where you can sustain for at least 6 months, 12 months, bare minimum. When you talk of adaptability, people need to understand now what has happened in COVID time. We've seen any small change in revenues, and people start cutting down the salaries. They do everything. Where will people stand with you? There are very few companies who didn't shunt out people immediately. Within a month or 15 days of that, your salary is down to 50%. These many people will be shunted out. I don't understand what kind of business are we doing here. We are not doing business. I think I don't know whom are we fooling around. I'm sorry for that, but there are people whose lives are at stake, and people just didn't bother. Now coming to the adaptability again, as I said, adaptability is the mindset. Once, like, everyday situations are changing, even at home or outside. When you go, things change. So you got to create a mindset which is okay. You stay at calmer and peace. One, nothing should change your head. Think about the situation first, what's happening, and look at the situation 360 degree. You got to analyze. This is where analytical mind is very important. That do not take things as they are. One, look at the worst case scenario, what can happen, and see how you want to prepare yourself for that. Adaptability will come. It's easy, but then it has to be done, as I said, daily course, daily mindset. People will have to do all that. Companies can't build up a culture when people are not ready or they're not adaptable. As I said, people are very, very scared of change. You know it. So when something new comes up, people are like, how how will I do it? What will happen? How will it be? No, go with the flow. Start doing it. And if I can do that every day in my life with everything that I'm doing, I think it's very easier. For me, it is. I really don't worry about the changing environment or any government policy or anywhere for that matter. Let anything may change. I know I can sit calmly and I can understand, because it is changing for everyone. It's not just for me. And if it is only for me, then I've failed somewhere where I've not taken something into consideration.
So, Basant, I think one relevant question that I have is especially relevant for the Indian context. You mentioned
Sure.
that it is not easy to change, and nobody likes change. But what I've seen is that whenever there is a change, people actually get into sort of risk management. They get very hyper in the risk management arena. So, is there a correlation between adaptability and the risk that is associated with it? What is your thought? I mean, just
Well,
quickly.
see, let's go back to the human old the mindset. The mind will never take a risk. Please understand, unless you break through the barrier. So, when we say risk, how is it coming now? When I move out of the house, there's a risk, isn't it? This can happen, that can happen, this will happen. I mean, you and I know that. When I'm talking, anything can happen, anything can follow. This can. I mean, this is where the mind is tuned from the basic primal mind. Is that it needs to safeguard, the situation itself. That it's risk averse. uh, the adaptability doesn't need to put fear in people's minds, because this will something which will improve yourself. You have to see, why do you need to adapt? The core issues people have to understand. Why do I need to adapt to certain things? Why do I need to have that adaptive behavior? Because nothing will stay constant. Never it will stay. You can look at certain things that, yeah, this will always remain forever. No, no, no. I can't say what will remain forever. All I know is that a calmer mindset and knowing things around you will keep you at a place where you can adapt and you can teach people to change. Do not worry about I'm here. We are here to handle. Now that confidence has to be given by the company itself. People will not have confidence. They're working for you. Who's going to give them confidence that if this change happens, what is happening to you or what will happen with you? People needs to be prepared. You can't bring it all of a sudden on their head and think that this will happen. What has happened with Paytm? You can see that now Paytm was doing certain things which are not allowed in the environment, and a huge number of customers were impacted. Now, how do they change? They move on to different platforms, right? So I don't know. I really don't worry from any adaptability or any risk. I am willing to take any risk, but I analyze it enough that how much damage it can do, or where it can take me, or where I can fall. And if I fall, can I rise quickly enough or not?
So, Basant, I think we had a very important discussion today. I think there are a lot of key inputs that you have provided to our viewers, which are very important. So, thank you so much for finding time and joining us this morning live with our audience.
Thank you, CK. See you next week. Thank you so much. Thanks for bringing me here.
So, friends, we had a very interesting discussion with one of the industry leaders on Akulmach Live. Just in case you have any question, any doubt, you can send it across, and we will discuss with Basant on in the next stream. So, thanks for joining us live, and we will catch up next week again. Bye for now.